So today we shall continue with the chapter proteins, in which we are going to study about the structure of proteins. So what are proteins? Proteins are polymers. What do you mean by polymer? Poly means many, mers means molecules. So when many molecules of what? Poly means many and mers means molecules. When many molecules of what? Alpha amino acids are connected to each other, then they are said to be proteins. And how are they connected to each other? By peptide bond. So let us see how is a peptide bond formed. So I am going to write the structure of two amino acids here. What is common in all the amino acids? NH2, hydrogen, and COOH is common. Yes, and R keeps on varying. Here I shall write R as H. It means it is which amino acid? Glycine. So I shall take up another amino acid, NH2. Instead of writing NH2 like this, I will be writing it in complete structural form. N, H1 and H2, C, COOH, and R becomes CH3. It means what? It is alanine. So I have taken two amino acid here, glycine and alanine. So CO group of OH group of one amino acid and H of another amino acid. COOH group of one amino acid reacts with NH2 group of another amino acid, and there is removal of water molecule. So water is removed, and what do we get here? CO, H2 is removed. What is left here? NH. So I shall continue to write the other part of the molecule, and over this side behind CO we have carbon, hydrogen, NH2 group and H. This bond formed by reaction between carboxylic group of one amino acid and amino group of another amino acid is called as peptide bond, or it is also called as an amide bond. In proteins, it is particularly called as peptide bond. So, proteins are made up of large number of amino acids. It means there are many number of peptide bonds in a protein. Okay. Now, look at this molecule. How many amino acids are involved? Two amino acids. Therefore, it is called as dipeptide. So, this is said to be a dipeptide. And if I have three amino acids, then it will be called as tripeptide. So dipeptide has how many peptide linkages? Peptide linkages. So check here. Two amino acids, how many peptide linkage? This is only one. So peptide linkage is 1. If I have three amino acids, tripeptide, how many peptide linkages will be there? 2. So to make it easy, let us take fingers, my fingers here. How many fingers are here? 2 are there. So each one, if I call it as amino acid, then they are linked together by this particular bond. And how many bonds are here? Only 1. So it is a dipeptide having how many bonds? Peptide linkages? 1. So I'll take up another molecule here. So I have 3 amino acids. Therefore it is very good, tripeptide. And how many bonds? This is one bond and this is the second bond. So how many peptide bonds or peptide linkages? 2. So a tripeptide has how many peptide linkages? 2. Now look at this. Which peptide is this? 1, 2, 3 and 4. So it is a tetrapeptide. So how many bonds? This is bond number 1, bond number 2, bond number 3. So a tetrapeptide has how many peptide bonds? 3. A pentapeptide has How many peptide bonds? 1, 2, 3 and 4. So in the exam they may ask, what is a pentapeptide? So what will be the answer? Pentapeptide is a polypeptide chain formed by reaction between 5 amino acids, wherein amino group of one amino acid reacts with carboxylic group of another amino acid. And how many peptide bonds does a pentapeptide have? 4 peptide bonds. Okay. Revise number of amino acids in a polypeptide. I will write 2. So what is the name of the peptide? It is very good, dipeptide. And how many peptide bonds it has? Number of peptide bonds? 1. If I have 5 amino acids, then what it should be called as? Pentapeptide. And how many peptide bonds it should have? 4. Very good. If I have 7 amino acids in a polypeptide chain, it should be called as heptapeptide. Hepta refers to 7. And how many peptide bonds it should have? 6. Hope you have understood. We shall look into classification of proteins. So proteins, I have already said, they are found in the pulses, our hair, our nails, our muscles, egg albumin, all these are proteins. So we can classify these proteins into 2 types. So one is fibrous protein, and another one is globular protein. So we will try to differentiate between them. So before we go for differentiation, let us give examples for these. Example for fibrous protein is our hair. And what hair? Nails. Okay. And what are these hair and nail made up of? Keratin. Keratin is the protein which is present in hair and nails. Okay, and where is globular protein present? Example for that is egg albumin. Okay, in raw egg, whatever that white watery part we get, that is called as egg albumin, and that yellowish one is called as yolk, which is nothing but fats. So I am interested in the white part of the egg. So what is the difference between them? It will be asked for 2 marks. What are the differences between fibrous protein and globular protein? So point number 1, always write example. So 1 mark for that. Keratin of hair and nails, and for globular proteins, egg albumin. So what is the second point we are going to write? Think of their solubility. Is hair or nails soluble in water? Yes. Are they soluble? No. It means these proteins are water insoluble. Imagine what would have happened if they were water soluble. So second difference between fibrous and globular protein. Globular proteins are water soluble. So this fetches you 2 marks. So I shall just quote another difference in fibrous proteins. And how are your hairs? Fiber like. If you take one hair strand, you can split them into fibrous. So they are linear structures or fibrous in nature. Another example is myosin of muscles. So muscles can also be taken out in the form of strips. So myosin of muscle is also an example for fibrous protein. Then what is another point for globular protein? If these are linear fibrous structures, This should be, the name itself should tell they are globular in structure, and because of which they will be surrounded by water molecule and easily soluble. Structure of proteins can be studied out in 4 levels. First one is primary structure. Second one is secondary structure. Third level is tertiary structure, and fourth level is quaternary structure. What do you mean by levels? So if you have a protein, it can be unfolded, and this unfolding of protein can be studied at 4 levels. Which are they? Primary, secondary, tertiary, and the fourth one is quaternary structure. So I have prepared a small model here. So I have a molecule here. Imagine this is a protein. I have used newspaper here. So this is structure of hemoglobin. It is made up of 4 polypeptide chains. This is first, second, third and fourth. And what is placed in the center? This flower is our iron. So our hemoglobin is made up of 4 polypeptide chains, which are called as subunits. These are called as subunits. And what is this flower? It is iron. So all these 4 subunits work together and they carry oxygen or carbon dioxide with them in the blood vessels. Now this structure is called as quaternary structure. Quaternary structure. So what is a quaternary structure? It is a structure wherein 2 or more subunits of proteins or polypeptides work together. So once again, what is a quaternary structure? It is a structure in which 2 or more polypeptide chain work together or perform a particular function. So coming to tertiary structure. So what is a tertiary structure? If I take one part of the subunit, or I may have a protein wherein only this one acts as a protein and which performs a particular function. So this structure is called as tertiary structure. It can be unfolded. So what is tertiary structure? It is a structure in which large number of polypeptide chains are folded together and which performs a particular function, and that structure is called tertiary structure. So if I unfold this particular structure, in this protein I am able to find helices, large number of helices. You may find chains like this running around, but majorly you will find helices, and you will find structures like this, zigzag structures. Okay, this is one structure and this is another zigzag structure. In majority, in a tertiary structure, you will find large number of helices and sheets like this. These are called as alpha helix, and these are called as beta pleated sheets. So when all these alpha helix and beta pleated sheets are folded, you end up with what? With structure? Tertiary structure. So if you unfold them, you will end up with what? You will end up with second level of structure, which is called as secondary structure. So I have opened this chain properly, and what I am able to find here? I am able to find many of such structures. So this is our beta pleated sheets, and these sheets are joined together by hydrogen bonds like this. And which is the other one I said? Alpha helix. So this is our alpha helix. Alpha helix. In tertiary structure, you will find n number of these structures. So forget tertiary structure. If you look into these tertiary structure, you will find large number of, what is this? Beta pleated sheets. And what is this called as? I have just rolled the paper and you end up with this is called as alpha helix. Why the name alpha? Right handed folding is here. Because this is called as alpha, this is called as beta pleated sheets. Pleats means foldings which we find in saris as well as curtains. Okay, these are the foldings. So these two structures are called as secondary structures. You may ask, there are foldings like this also, but they are not named. Majorly we find alpha helix and beta pleated sheets, hence they are named. Now suppose if you open this structure, you will get linear sequence of amino acid. So I am going to unfold this alpha helix or beta pleated sheet. I end up with linear sequence, a page like this. Okay, I am completely unfolding this. If I unfold this, okay, what do I get? I am able to see all the amino acids. Imagine this is our alpha helix which has been unfolded and these are our amino acids. And this chain, whether it is alpha or alpha helix or beta pleated sheet, I have unfolded, and what do I get? I get large number of amino acids which are linked together. And this structure is called as primary structure. So how do you define primary structure? It is linear sequence of amino acids which are held by which bond? Peptide bonds, and which are covalent in nature. So primary structure folds to give you second level structure, alpha and beta pleated sheets. These fold together to give you tertiary structure. Yes, and large number of tertiary structures work together and form a quaternary structure. And what are these called as? These are called as sub-units which work in coordination with metal ions. So this structure what I have put here is structure of hemoglobin. Similarly, you have myosin wherein two subunits are present, and we also have chlorophyll which is again a quaternary structure of protein. Now out of quaternary structure, tertiary structure, secondary structure and primary structure, which is very important. If I just supply heat to any of these, they start unfolding, and if you stop the supply of heat, they fold together and they start their normal function. But in primary structure, if you change any of these amino acids, if A is replaced by B, then whole of the nature of this protein changes. So any change in the sequence of primary structure will affect what? Will affect the function of protein. What it will affect? It will affect function. Its property itself is gone. So which is very important in this? Primary, secondary, tertiary or quaternary? It is primary structure, because here there is change in the amino acid itself. When there is change in the amino acids itself, there is change in the folding. If there is change in the folding, it affects the function of protein. Hope you have understood. So you are going to study the protein in 4 levels: quaternary, tertiary, secondary and primary. So what is primary structure? Linear sequence of amino acids held by a peptide bond, which plays a very important role in biological function. This folds to give you what? Large n number of such polypeptide chains are there. They fold to give you secondary structure, which we are usually able to see in the form of alpha helix and beta pleated sheet. These fold together to give you a tertiary structure. Large number of tertiary structures combine to give you quaternary structure. I think with this I am able to make you understand how proteins can be studied under different levels. Thank you.